Hare Krishna, liebe Devotees, liebe Gäste, ein sehr warmes Willkommen zu unserem Sonntagsprogramm. Hare Krishna, dear guests, dear devotees, a very, very warm welcome to our Sunday program. Is someone here for the first time? Your name again? Niklas. Welcome, Niklas. And our short description of our Sunday program. We will now have a talk on Krishna consciousness wisdom till 5 o'clock. Then we will have a vegetarian feast. At 6:15 a guided mantra meditation. At 7 o'clock a temple ceremony. And from 8 o'clock onwards more singing of kirtan, of mantras. For today's talk we are very happy. Actually initially Her Grace Radha Kripa Mataji was scheduled. Unfortunately, she couldn't come today, so she sent her other best half of her, her husband Jacob Prabhu. Please welcome him with a big Haribol. Jacob Prabhu is one of our senior members here. He lived as a monk here since 1997. For around 7 years he served here in the temple. Also he's a disciple of His Holiness Sachinandana Maharaj, where he also served him as a personal servant. Prabhu himself has a degree from the University of Zurich. He studied pedagogy, psychopathology and Indology, and he's working as a social educator for youth and parenting coaching, and also what we call a kirtaniya, singing and sharing the holy name. And we are very happy that he's here with us. And before we start, braucht jemand eine deutsche Übersetzung?
Die Frage, ist die Klasse gedacht, should it be in English, the class? The class should be in English, okay. So I took the German book, I have to get an English one. Bhagavad Gita.
Macht jemand eine deutsche Übersetzung? Then I just request, please come a little closer, and I wish you a happy Sunday. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay. Bist du da? Kannst du da? Dann kann ich mit anschauen. So welcome, dear devotees, dear guests, Hare Krishna. Welcome to the Krishna Temple, Zurich. So nice to have you here. And it's our culture that before there is a talk on spiritual topics, we sing a song. For those who don't know it, just listen along. Oh, the text is coming. So here is the text if you want to try singing along, and I see many familiar faces who I believe know the text. So let's start now. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janavalabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamunathiravana Chari Yamunathiravana Chari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gauranita Jaya Gauranita Gauranita Jaya Gauranita Jaya Jagannath Jaya Jagannath Jaya Baladeva Jaya Subhadra Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya So, as another part of our culture, we have the understanding that we are a servant, we are an instrument of the spiritual energy, and for that energy to come, we usually speak some prayers. It's called Mangala Charanda, it's an auspicious invocation. So I will start with that. Whoever knows the mantras, please follow along. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitang Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So as Rasa Shai Ram Prabhu said, actually my wife should be sitting here, but she got a quite strong flu, so she's still at home recovering. So I don't know if I'm the better half. Usually we call the wife the better half, but I'll do my best. Actually, her class was named, to get it right, I think it was on the website, where Vrindavan, how does it go? Where spiritual dreams become true and material life just becomes a dream, something like that. She had a good title like that. She wanted to make a slideshow on this holy place, Vrindavan. And I have another topic. So my topic for today is, what if Krishna, or God, for those who that's more accessible, what if Krishna or God really exists? And I'd like to first ask some questions which you can either answer for yourself or feel free to speak out and say, which experiences in your life would kind of give a proof or an indication for that question? What if Krishna really exists? Oh, wonderful.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So for myself, I made many experience in life in terms of sports, also general happiness, and also drugs, you can say. And so everything gave me some kind of consciousness and happiness, but the happiness that I experienced in serving Krishna, doing the kirtan, doing book distribution, is another kind of happiness that I never experienced before. So this is for me a proof there's something higher.
Wonderful. Would someone else like to say something?
What if God really exists? Question. And whenever I've been reading about all of these when I've been reading in the scriptures about the spiritual reality, and also trying to, in my life, practice a few things that the scriptures suggest, and then you do feel a sense of fulfillment, this unknown fulfillment which is there. And I feel that if God really exists, then everything is success, because sometimes leading life you feel so half and so incomplete. And that's the incomplete part which makes it complete, this unification and service with God. And if God is really there, you can really feel complete and loved, full in your own self.
Wonderful, thank you. Oh yeah. No.
I think even through mundane observation of the world around us, the universe and the cosmos, the amount of complexity that there is, there must be a higher intelligence behind it. And that's even from a mundane observation. What's a speaker?
I'm using a logic like how could it be?
Mundane,
Yeah.
even through mundane speculation. What's a speaker's spirituality? So.
Can everyone understand actually when there's... Okay. This doesn't have a microphone. Yeah, and like this I'd like to come to the verse I'd like to speak on, or as a basis. This is also, I remember there used to be this really great saint, Fakir Mohan Prabhu, maybe some of you met him, and he said when one speaks about Krishna or God, there should always be a holy scripture there, kind of as a support, as the culture like that. So following this culture. This is out of the Bhagavad Gita, 5th chapter, text 29. The chapter is called Karma Yoga, Action in Krishna Consciousness or Action in God Consciousness. And the Sanskrit is Bhaktaram Yagyatapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram Suridam Sarvabhutanam Gyatva Mam Shantim Rikchati. So Krishna is speaking to Arjuna, his devotee. And he's saying, a person in full consciousness of me, knowing me to the ultimate beneficiary of all sacrifices and austerities, the supreme lord of all planets and demigods, and the benefactor and well-wisher of all living entities, attains peace from the pangs of material miseries. So Prabhupada just translates like the first line, Bhaktaram, he's the beneficiary. You can also translate, he's the enjoyer. That's like one of the spiritual principles that we want to learn and we want to train at, to act for the pleasure of God. And who understands that attains peace. And who knows that I am the Lord of all that be, attains peace. And then for me a very important line is coming, which I believe is very essential for a spiritual understanding. It's this word Suridam Sarvabhutanam. Sarvabhutanam means all living entities, not just humans, all living entities. The grass we find out in the lawns, the bacteria somewhere on the wall, all living entities which are embodied in a material form. He is the Suridam. He's the benefactor, the well-wisher. You can also translate it as the friend. So here we have, he's the enjoyer of all, meant to be given enjoyment, the Lord of all, and the friend of all. So when we hear that, and we actually consider that, okay, God exists and it is that way, how would we actually think? And how would we feel in life? And how would we act? If there's a person there who's your friend, that's taking care of you, and he's always there for you no matter what, how would we actually, how would we feel? Yes?
If I would not forget this, I would constantly stay connected in my thinking.
Mm-hmm. And how would that connection feel? Living. You feel alive. You can also say in German if it's, and I can translate. It would be a living relationship between you and God. Yeah. Okay, wonderful. Someone else would like to say something. How would one actually feel if it know that Krishna is our friend? Secure. Mm-hmm. You would have said the same? Security. There's another. No, I'll leave it there. I was wanting to refer, but there's this famous verse from the Brahma Samhita, the first one, Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchitananda Vigraha, Anadir Adir Govinda Sarvakarana Karanam. It's when I thought of what if God really exists and what explains Krishna, this is also one of the kind of very clear pointing verses out of the scriptures explaining Ishvara Parama Krishna. Same as here, the Maheshwaram, the Sarvamaloka, the Ishvara, he's the Lord of all that be. Ishvara Parama Krishna, and it points to the name of Krishna. And he is Satchit Ananda Vigraha. Vigraha means form. Sat, eternal, Chit, full of knowledge, and Ananda, full of bliss. And by the way, he's in full quantity, Satchitananda, and we are also actually Satchitananda in quality. The same qualities like Krishna, just the difference in quantity. Anadir Adir Govinda. Anad is beginningless and the beginning of everything, and then another name of Krishna comes in, said Govinda. Go means senses and Vinda, giving pleasure. Go can also mean the cows, and he gives pleasure to the cows. We often see on pictures, we see Krishna. See, there's some cows there on that picture, and also in the background of that picture there are cows. So Krishna very much loves the cows. And if my wife would have given the class on Vrindavan, you would have seen, she wanted to make a slideshow, you would have seen cows. So Krishna, it's kind of, Krishna's home is like when the president goes home to his forest residence and he's relaxed. There it's like Krishna, he has his cows. He loves cows a lot. Govinda, Sarva Karana Karanam. He is the cause of all causes. So that came to my mind thinking, okay, if Krishna really exists, who is that Krishna? What is he actually doing? And for all of you who are, in that sense, you're just having an experience here in the Krishna temple and you refer better to the name God, feel free, Krishna, God. You can, and if I say, we're in the Krishna temple, so I say Krishna, but you can also use the synonym, same speaking God in your head. So actually, that question raises, okay, how do we actually perceive Krishna? How do we actually realize him? And I'd like to mention something in the line what Manu said, which I liked a lot, and it's something from the founder of our Krishna conscious movement, Srila Prabhupada. How do we realize that Krishna is God? And he said that when we serve God and we feel the happiness and the bliss in our heart is a proof that Krishna is God. So it goes very much in line with what you said. So then one may ask the question, or you may object, okay, nice, wonderful, what are you saying? But I don't feel that bliss. I don't experience that happiness. So my first answer to you who are all sitting here in the Krishna temple, as a bit of a challenging answer, is it really true? If you're sitting here, is it really true that you never had some tinge of experience, of some tinge of happiness coming up, being in connection with God? It doesn't have to be in the Krishna temple, it can be in another tradition. Your interest, I would suggest or believe you're sitting here, you're all spiritually interested people. So somewhere you had an experience because just a dry understanding, okay, God must exist. It's there for some time, as you said, but it doesn't really last long. We want the experience, no? So I would question if you say, I have totally no feeling of pleasure, of bliss when I'm in connection to God. Because sometimes our mind likes to deceive us. Our mind has the tendency, if something happens a few times, it slips into the notion it's always like that. And we forget all the positive things what happened. Because the struggles of this life are intense and they try to absorb us. So when the good things happen, we should also stick with them even longer than when the troublesome things happen, on a side note. But then you will say, still, I don't experience something. So then, let us then maybe say, what is your motivation to come to the Krishna temple or to come to Krishna? And in my experience, if I don't feel anything in devotional service, often the case is Krishna actually withdrawing himself and indicating, there is something I want you to see there. There is something I want you to change on your motivation. And two motivations on it which are very natural in our this is a word we use in our tradition, conditioned nature. The understanding is there we are an eternal being, life spark, spirit, soul, but we come into this world and have this material body, and this material body has also a subtle body, explained as the intelligence, the mind, it's also explained as the ahankara, the false ego, ahankara, the I maker. So that's the subtle material body. And for this gross and subtle material body, we often speak of the conditioned nature. It's conditioned by this body, which is a bit, let's say, it covers the soul and it makes us forget about our spiritual connection and identity. So on that level, there is one aspect, perhaps, which is strong on a material level, is this, I wrote my notes in German, is this, how would you explain, this need of being socially integrated. And we might come also to a spiritual community with desire to find some social integration. And I don't even want to put any value on that, because on a human level, that's a very justified, important human need to feel emotionally healthy. And another thing might be, I believe that other part in us is very known to us. It's the inner critic. God really exists? Well, I don't know. I don't know about that. Or the spiritual things, it's a bit, like, it's an interesting experience. I and my mother, when we start to get to know Krishna consciousness, she started reading the Krishna book. And she thought it was a very wonderful book, up to the point where she read Krishna had 16,108 wives. And that was too much. What? Am I here approaching an immoral God with so many wives? How can he do that? And at the time, the devotee who was kind of supporting her said, okay, maybe put the Krishna book to the side for a while, read Bhagavad Gita, like that. She's totally over it, she's totally fine with it. But that was like the inner critic came. I was like, come on, 16,108 wives, that's not possible. So those parts in us, like being socially integrated or being a bit careful what we get into, are very natural parts on the human level. But Krishna might indicate to us, you might need to get to a deeper motivation. You might want to come into the association of spiritual people to associate with spiritual people, but not for your social fulfillment, but actually for your spiritual fulfillment, to come closer to Krishna. And the beautiful thing then is actually, in the association of spiritual people with a, like, say, deeper or a more spiritual motivation, that need of us gets even more fulfilled because the experience gets catalyzed. And that's also explained in Bhagavad Gita. If I find it in a go, 9. I'm not sure anymore if I... Anyway, I know the last line is Tushyanti cha ramanti cha bodhayan. Or is it 10? The Shastris among us. Yeah. 10? 10, 11. Wonderful. It's not 10, 11. But
Between 8 to 12.
Yeah, exactly. These pages are so thin. There we are, 10:9. Matchitta matgata prana bodhayanta parasparam katayantascha mamnitam tushanti cha ramanti cha. The thoughts of my pure devotee dwell in me. Their lives are fully devoted to my service, and they derive great satisfaction and bliss from always enlightening one another and conversing about me. So this feeling of bliss in the association of devotees is actually, it's not just coming together, which is already, you come in a certain field, but when you actually want to come together and serve Krishna, serve God, and speak about Him, that this bliss comes up. And by this, our need for social integration is even catalyzed. Or the inner critic. Let's say we say to the inner critic, actually, thank you very much you're here. You're really protecting me. That I'm not getting into some cult or something crazy. You're really protecting me. Or we say to the part in us who wants this social integration, hey, I really understand that there's a great need for this. So would you be ready to come on a journey and momentarily put this aside a bit and just go into this association of spiritual people and try to focus on Krishna, try to please Krishna, try to please God. So often, or let's say the issue with that is not that we have those parts in us, but the issue is if we identify with them. They often take over, especially the inner critic. The inner critic, I experience it again and again in my spiritual life. And I was like, oh man, is this really true? And come on, I remember when I used to live in the temple, I used to look down on me. At that time, I still had this orange cloth on. I looked down on me, I become Hare Krishna, my God. Okay, is that really true? Oh my God, I become a Hare Krishna. So I was like almost sometimes shocked what happened externally to me, and it showed that internally I was not so still in the process of getting known to this new lifestyle. So if we can actually integrate these parts and say, hey, they're very important parts in which you're really protecting and helping me, their voice becomes more silent. Or like, have you maybe ever experienced someone is really upset and he comes to you and he tells you about being upset? And you're like, come on, just stick it away, swallow it down, it's good. And he keeps coming and coming and coming. But if you say, wow, my God, that's really bad what happened to you, I would feel exactly the same in that situation. Suddenly they start becoming quiet. So the same with parts in us and needs in us, if we can acknowledge them and integrate them and say, yeah, you're here, like the inner critic. Thank you so much for being here. You're helping me. But would you be ready to making an experiment? Let's go to the Krishna temple and see if there's really something about this. Let's sing God's holy names and see if there's really something about this. And then with the experience, we can judge together if there's something there. If this happiness comes up as a proof of the experience, of the existence of God. And in this, and not only that these parts then become more silent because they feel integrated, they actually allow us to step in deeper. They actually allow us to understand, I am far more than these parts. I'm far more than an inner critic or a social part living being in myself. And it actually helps us to go deeper in our personality. What could say, what is my true self? To step back. It's like the gateway to a deeper experience of the self and perhaps of Krishna. Like I had that, and this coming to another point which I would call kind of the beginning of the core of the gateway to a deeper experience of the self and God is honesty and authenticity. Like to acknowledge, let's say, certain parts in us, or a part in us who really likes to drink coffee. And in these scriptures, they say coffee is not the best thing for spiritual life. Let's say, like that. And if we can, and we are constantly like, no, I don't want, no, it's not good, I don't want this, I don't this. This coffee drinker in us kind of pops up again and again and again. But when we first of all acknowledge, oh yeah, I really like to drink coffee. And we go in front of God in our prayers, hey, I really still like that enjoyment. But there's a part in me too wants to give enjoyment to you. That's honest. I made that experience. I like to play this drum. I've been practicing for quite some years now. And as we heard in that verse, Krishna is the Bhoktaram Yagya Tapasam. He's the enjoyer of all yagyas. So we call also that singing of God's name is the Sankirtan Yagya. It's an offering, it's a sacrifice we do for the pleasure of God. So yes, when I go to Kirtan and play this drum, it's only for Krishna. It should be only for Krishna. And then parts came up, I also like to play Mridanga. I like to play Mridanga too. No. It's just for Krishna. And I used to go to Kirtan and it used to be a bit tough. So at the point I said, oh, come on, what's going on? Okay, Krishna, I have maybe 80% in me who really, really likes to play Mridanga, and it's really enjoyable. But there's 20% in me who wants to do it for you. And I went to Kirtan like that, and it was so blissful. It was such a pleasurable and amazing experience. And I felt like, wow, it seems like that Krishna appreciates honesty and authenticity. So in that sense, we all have our sides. We know which are, let's say, sides in us which we like to enjoy for us, for ourselves. So if we can go in front of Krishna honestly and say, hey, there's a part in me, but there's also a part in me who wants to give some pleasure to you, who wants to experience you, who wants to offer something to you, immediately it's okay. Immediately the doors open. So coming back to I don't experience any of this bliss as a proof of God, maybe there because Krishna is showing at some motivation or some need actually we're neglecting, and he doesn't want that. He wants for us to become whole and honest. I'm just looking at my notes because I've just lost myself a bit. So speaking of that, coming into the association of devotees, I'd like to pick up on that, which is something really actually very powerful, what I also mentioned, that they always enlighten another conversing about God, conversing about Krishna. And that is actually also the place where again and again we can become encouraged and inspired to go in contact with Krishna. Is actually also the birthplace of this experience of God, which we're actually all looking for. It's an internal proof actually to us. Oh yeah, he's really there. He's really there. And it's called sadhu sangha. The association of spiritually minded people is really the birthplace of that experience. Because also Krishna has a weak point. And his weak point is if someone acts out of love and offers something with love to Krishna, he becomes very weak. And even if one may not have some bad qualities, Krishna won't see that. If you offer something with love, he's immediately drawn to you. Oh, I had this experience once at my work. We were at it was at Christmas time, and I was working with these. It was part of my job. We had this excursion, and some parents were there, and they were from the Free Church, Christian Free Church. And there was some stage program, and the MC, he was quite intense. I couldn't identify with him. He's very, very motivated, enthusiastic, to say positive. But then they had a music band, and they were singing Christmas songs and also their Christian songs. And they were really getting into it. And they were like, and he was outside, it was a little tent, and it was snowing, it was cold, and like, wow, they're really getting blissful here. And then my Hare Krishna inner Kitty came up, hey, but you know, they're not even from the Hare Krishna tradition. How can they be so blissful like that? And I was like, hey, come on. You know, they're worshipping God. And then I realized they offered something with love to God, and God was reciprocating. And you could see it in their faces, how blissful they were singing. So that's Krishna's weakness. If you offer something with love to him, he's immediately drawn to that. And that's the magic of going into the association of those people who have this love in their heart. It's contagious, it affects you, it motivates, it inspires you. It creates trust. And it creates trust also to do that leap of faith, that when there's times we don't feel much of that bliss, we still get carried and say, oh, but there's something true behind it. Because I experience people who are very blissful, who are very enlivened, as you said. They live this connection. And that's why this coming amongst like-minded spiritualists is one of the components of what is called in our tradition Panchanga Bhakti, the 5 parts of bhakti, of love of God, which is highlighted. These are very, very powerful processes. And the first is described as hearing from the scriptures, especially the Srimad Bhagavatam, for those who know it. In our tradition, this can be also hearing of scriptures of other traditions that keeps you alive. Then there is the singing of the holy names of God, the kirtan, what we did before the class. Then one of them is called Murti Seva. It's worshipping the deities in the temple. And on that note, I was really blown away when I came into the temple room today. The altar looks so beautiful, don't you think? The colors is just amazing. That's what we see here. That's one of these 5 powerful parts of our tradition, which is worshipping deities of Krishna, of God, in the temple. And then we come to the 4th, it's the Sadhu Sangha. And the 5th one is Maturavas, living at a holy place. So it said, if you don't live in an actual holy place, make your house a holy place. Like when you go home to spiritual people, they have an altar, when you meet devotees, they have some smaller deities of Krishna or Radha Krishna at home. They have pictures at their walls which remind them of Krishna or holy places. One of the aspects of our tradition is when we cook food, we offer it to Krishna and accept what is coming back. It's called prasad, the mercy of God. And this is spiritualized food. It's not only food for our body, but also for our soul. So make your home a holy place. So when you step in after work, you feel this atmosphere. Oh, okay, here's a place I can connect to God. Also by regularly chanting mantras or reading out of the books, it creates an atmosphere in your space. So yeah, what if God really exists? I would like to all invite you to take this question home and make an experiment. Or I believe there's many of you who may say, come on, I don't believe in God. I know Krishna exists. There might be some of you there. I met devotees like that. That's very powerful. So I'd like to go to the comment and question part. Do you have any comments or questions you'd like to ask? Doubts? The inner critic may say something.
I think the question you were saying now, you could also say it for otherwise. How could it be that God does not exist?
Yeah, wonderful. Yeah.
It's just obvious. It
Mhm.
must exist if you look around.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But still we have worries, we are anxious, we are nervous sometimes, even though we feel it, but we are not like totally surrendered or believe. Then I think when we really believe it,
Mhm.
we should not have any kind of fear or anxiety or things. So our faith is lacking somewhere. Yeah. And in good times we really believe, and in bad times
Mhm.
it's
Mhm. Mhm.
shaky.
Mhm.
In order to,
You say you would wish your faith and your
yeah.
realization should become stronger.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I think there's two parts to this. It definitely, yes, the more it's also spoken in the Bhagavad Gita. Brahma Bhuta Prasanata Nashochati Nakankshati. When you come on that spiritual platform of realization of Krishna, all lamentation stops and all worrying stops. We have it described in our scriptures, and we also have, when we are like, when you say in good times or when we're in a kirtan, when we feel this bliss of in the association of devotees chanting the holy name, your mind kind of stops, and I feel sometimes you're just in a bubble and just time stops, you forget the world, everything, and there's no more worries there. But then when we go back to our life, we go back to daily duties and tasks, the mind comes with fearing again. At the same time, it's natural for this body to have worries and fears. It's an important mechanism which is kind of alerting us to something. Oh, may this not go wrong or right. And like when you get up in the morning, you're drowsy, you're a bit, you're all looking at windows and, oh my God, is this me? So it's said that the mode of ignorance is still there because of sleeping. Is this you heard of the modes, the gunas? It's still there. And then you get up, you wake up, and it kind of starts going away. So as long as we have this conditioned material body, there is a certain effect of our gross and subtle body, even though we go higher and higher spiritually. But what happens more that we more and more can disconnect and not identify too much with it, the more we are situated in a spiritual understanding. And the beautiful thing is that the more, when we have worries, we can go to Krishna and say, actually, I'm really worried. And like for instance, the other day, my wife was very sick, and I really had to, the whole household, to cook and bring her food. She was really not good. And at one point my mind was going mad, like, I gotta do all these things. Where is space for me? I wanna do my workout. I still need to chant my japan, our beats. I wanted to go to the workshop and do something like that. And then I went to my Gopal and said, oh, actually, she's sick. how can I think like this now? You know, I was disturbed, like, how can I think now just selfish of me, and she's really in need of this? And I felt sooner or later it was just gone, and it was better again like that. Would you like to say something? No. Okay, I just saw you one. Mm-hmm.
Thank you also for the point that experience of bliss.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of a personal proof, because we can bring so many arguments for Krishna, so many arguments against God, and I was quite immersed in this field, but always this personal bliss experience, and this is kind of what at the end we can really count. My question is, what is the nature of the bliss that is experienced because of Krishna, and what's the nature of the bliss that we experience that comes from sense enjoyment, etc.? How do we see this is a bliss that's of a higher nature?
I'm struggling to give a proper answer or an answer to this. I felt when I started coming to the Krishna temple and also living here, I felt very soon what I experience here, I've not experienced so far in this world. There's a distinction to it, but I don't know how to put it in words. Experiencing happiness in this world is always somewhat fleeting, somewhat crumbling away, and you need again and again and more of it, and the more you take it, the less it gives to you. And somehow, with coming in contact with Krishna, it's just, and it proves to me again and again, when you somewhat experience Krishna, it's just nothing in this world comes close to it. I used to say I used to like snowboarding, and I said one thing comes a little bit close to it. It's when there's 1 meter of powder snow and you go with snowboarding. That's like, wow, the ultimate bliss. But even that can't come with Krishna. I think it's something very individual, like how to explain that experience. I don't know how to explain it. Sorry to. Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
This week I was hearing a lecture of Prabhupada, and something came to my mind that the question is what we really want. If you want to remember Krishna, if you want to realize Krishna, then Krishna will help us, and it will be revealed.
Mm-hmm.
And all the good books will come up to us, the people will come to us, and we will know more and more about Krishna, we'll realize him more and more. But if we want to forget, so as a soul we can only desire, if we want to forget Krishna, then the whole world will put us into forgetfulness. Then we will meet people who say, oh, there's no God. We will hear books about it. We will have some signs in our life that there's no God. So the whole question is also, what do we really want?
Mm.
So are we putting the effort to search for God, for Krishna, or do we want to forget him? And this is all our individual choice.
Mm. Yes. Yeah. Like Krishna said to Arjuna at the end of the Bhagavad Gita, Yatechasi tathakuru. Now you decide. So it's Krishna's really leaving our free will. But he misses us, and he made two things in this world. One spiritual one material one, to work on our desire. The material one is the educational technology in this universe. It's called karma. And like by going through the experience of this world and also by suffering in this world, the idea behind all this is that we start to realize something is not right. And when we start realizing something is not right, he has the spiritual point to change our desire. He sends the sadhu, he gives us the sadhu sangha, who awakens the spark in our heart. But for Krishna in front of us, he even said, he leaves us the free will, but I said, I transgressed my principle. Interesting, okay. I transgressed my principle of leaving the free will by sending my devotee in this world. And not to manipulate us, because he just really misses us. You wanted to ask something?
Just had a reflection or a Sasharan's question. It's a very nice question. That we can be doing the same thing and the bliss we derive, whether it's a self-aggrandizement or is it really bliss derived out of Krishna's service. It's such a fine line. And I was thinking that, of course, when we enter into spiritual practice or devotional service, we have a set plan, right? We want to do like this. Or if we have a service, we want to do like this one by one, and this is what the outcome should be. This is how I should be appreciated and everything. And then all of that happens according to our plan, and then we feel so happy because, yeah, we did the service and we did Krishna's service and everything went according to plan. But then there will be moments, the longer you stick around and the more you surrender and you tell Krishna, yeah, maybe purify me, then that's when it begins, that things go berserk, things go out of hand, things go not according to your plan, you don't get appreciation. Whatever you wanted, exactly the opposite happens, but you still feel happy. And then you realize, like, this is so crazy, why am I feeling the way I'm feeling? Because everything's going according to how I should not be feeling happy, but still you feel happy. And then you recognize that then you've really found some connection with Krishna, where you feel like he's there, he's protecting, he's providing, and with that faith, the happiness also comes.
Yeah, Krishna is an expert in crushing down our plan. And he's also, if we know this term, thinking out, one of my descriptions of Krishna, if the person who is the most thinking out of the box in order to bring us closer to him. Like this is, I like this from this one Franciscan monk living, maybe you heard of him, Richard Rohr. He wrote very nice books, and he said, in the kingdom of God, nothing is wasted. God will even use your sins to bring you back to him. So he thinks out of the box. No. Yeah. Okay.
Just for the continuation, because you mentioned this example of being in a kirtan and wanting to play the drum, and I can relate to this. I observe that the difference is if I playing there because I want to get material bliss, then at the end it's always depends on the external, who are there, how many are there, are they going to say something to me, I was nice or so. But the bliss from Krishna was, the case was you can experience it at any time if you want, irrespective of how many are there, if you are alone or something. It's still, if you are doing this, Krishna is present always and you experience it. It's just another sharing process.
Wonderful, thank you. So I guess it's time to eat something, no? So thank you very much for coming, and take this question home, or take it the other way home, and enjoy your prasadam. Thank you very much for coming. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Prabhupada ki Jai.
Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna.
Jacob Prabhu for speaking in this session. And thank you for all of you also for participating. And now the next program is the Shame Feast. And please go there and experience Krishna's bliss.
Jai.
I